Schloppy Joe.
And this is Katrina, and we are coming to you live from WWE in Bloomington. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ringside Radio. As you just saw, that was us earlier this month at a WWE live event, and it was amazing. So it kicked off Ziggler facing Sandow, and, but why don't we talk about, speaking of Sandow, earlier in the day, we went to Denny's to eat, and this guy was like, one of the waiters was like, we were wearing wrestling shirts,
He was trying to ruin our lives.
Yeah,
I think he's accomplished it.
Yeah, we're all wearing wrestling shirts, and he's like, oh, there were just some wrestlers in here, and he said that Sheamus, the guy with the sheet mask, and the guy
in the robe.
The guy in the robe. And we knew automatically he was talking about Eric Rowan, Sandow, and Sheamus. And he was saying they were just in there, 15 minutes?
20 minutes.
Yeah.
He said we missed them by 20 minutes.
So we all kind of facepalmed and were very sad. And
I actually told him to go away.
Yes.
I said, you've broken my heart enough. You can just go now.
yes.
Because I really think the look on his face told me that he was getting enjoyment.
He was like,
Yeah.
let's just mess with these wrestling
He was like, yeah,
fans.
Sheamus was awesome. He signed for everybody and took pictures with everybody.
It's like, thanks
Dude.
for telling us that.
Just go.
As we have our wrestling shirts
Yeah.
on. But,
I believe,
And we actually know them by name, not the guy in the
Yeah.
sheet mask and
Yeah.
the smart
and
guy
I
in the robe.
believe our friend who went with us was wearing a Sheamus shirt too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he was.
he that's probably why he did it. He's like, he's a Sheamus fan.
This will be fine.
But then I remember the rest of the time we were just trying to mess with each other, like, oh my
Yes.
god, it's the Shield and all this stuff. We failed every time. But
Yeah.
either way, it starts with,
Except for me, I fell for it every time.
so it starts off.
Someone's a little gullible.
It's like, oh gosh, where?
So Ziggler and Sandow first. Pretty awesome to see Ziggler. We saw him last year, but at the show, but he's a face this time, and it seems like him and Sandow face off each other more than anyone nowadays.
Yeah.
But good match. I believe Ziggler ended up getting the win, so that's cool. Then Zack Ryder comes out, who I just gotta say I was not very big on Zack Ryder, but recently I am.
The guy just needs a hug.
Dude, I own a broski headband I had for like 3 years, so I'm not gonna lie, I do like Zack Ryder.
He's alright. He's alright.
I'm becoming more of a fan, that's for sure. But his opponent, I'm a bigger fan of. Alexander Rusev fought there. He didn't just go out there and stand on a podium. He fought, and it was a good match. Actually, it wasn't just a squash. They gave us a good match, but Rusev ended up getting the win with the accolade.
Yeah. The worst part about that match, though, no Lana.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
what
sadness.
I wanted her to come out. I wanted to hear her go out there and say whatever she says in Russian, because
We like Lana.
she has a good
Grimm and I do.
voice.
Yeah, that's it.
So, anyways, the next match was our divas, and it was actually, we were kind of wondering, like, okay, are we going to get the bad divas or the good divas? And I'd say we got the good divas. We
Yeah,
got
definitely.
AJ defending against Natalya. Actually, she didn't defend. She was like,
She was supposed to.
yeah, but she changed her mind.
She
and said
weaseled her way out of it.
So
like
she-
always
What she did
does.
was she came out and said that she had spoken to Vicky Guerrero, I believe, and this happened back to the house show I went to in January too. It was the exact same thing. Her saying that she had spoken to Vicky Guerrero, and Vicky said that she did not have to defend her title. So that's kind of how they made it a non-title match.
Oh, yeah. So AJ did not defend against Natalya, but she did lose to Natalya. So a good loophole that Natalya can beat AJ. And it was a good match. Those two are awesome. Then we had probably best match of the night.
Yeah, definitely.
6-man tag, the Usos. The day before, they became the WWE Tag Team Champions. So they teamed up with Sheamus, Mr. Denny's, against the Wyatt family. And I gotta say, seeing the Wyatt family entrance live was amazing. It was one of the coolest things.
Well, and I know we've said about the whole, them up on the screen saying we're here and then blowing out the lantern was great for their debut, but doesn't need to happen anymore.
Yeah.
But I specifically remember Grimm saying, okay, when that happened in person, it was the
different.
coolest thing.
Yeah.
So it really is different.
So I
you see it
understand
in
when you
person.
do it. While you're there, it's like, oh, they're here. It's cool. So that was awesome.
It was.
The match was just fantastic all around, just amazing. And I think the Usos and Sheamus won, actually.
Yeah.
Did they? Yeah, I thought they did. But
Yeah,
and Sheamus got the biggest hot tag ever, I swear.
He did. I remember Jimmy Uso. No, it was Jay Uso. Sorry, putting on the sheep mask at the end and dancing in it too, which was funny. But actually, one of my favorite parts of the whole show happened at the beginning of this match because everybody's standing in the ring and the match hadn't started yet, and there's dead silence. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to give this a shot. And you know how they do the ooh, so, the crowd responds. So I just cupped my hands over my mouth, and as loud as I possibly could, I went, ooh! And these guys helped me out. They were yelling so. And a few rounds into it, Jimmy Uso looks over, and he's watching and he's waiting. And I go, ooh, and we see him go, so! Yeah. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Because usually that's their part, and then, so it was like he took the fan part, the response. And I thought that was amazing. He just kind of watched away, and he's like, I was so excited.
And it seemed like those 6 of them in the match were really into the match, too.
And really in tune with the audience.
Yeah, definitely. And the crowd was great.
Awesome
too.
match. Awesome.
Actually, it was a really good crowd for Little Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah, they were doing
was.
all the, classic chants for people, and it was a good energy in there. So then
there was a CM Punk chant too.
Oh yeah, there was a CM Punk chant. But I mean, we're in Illinois.
It's all right.
Then again, they'll do that anywhere. They can't really help it.
Right.
So then there was the intermission, yada yada. Come back, and they give us R-Truth and Xavier Woods come down, and then Jinder Mahal, the one-man band, I suppose, because he's not with either of his 3MB partners, comes out, and then they ask us, do you want to see a wrestling match or a dance-off? And we're like, wrestling, because they just want my cheers or something.
It was you cheer for which one you wanted, and the louder cheer is
and I feel regardless they were going to do a dance-off.
Yeah.
So they did the dance-off as we started chanting, we want wrestling. We want wrestling.
Very loudly.
Yeah, and Xavier Woods actually acknowledged us. I don't remember if he had...
I think he just...
He said something about, we lost just by a little bit.
Yeah, or just wait a little bit or something.
He was doing this,
but
whatever
he acknowledged
that means.
it, so that was cool.
Yeah.
The dance-off was about what you'd expect.
Xavier
I'll just
Woods
leave it at that. But then they did give us a little match, maybe 10 seconds.
30 seconds of that.
Yeah, and Xavier Woods won that also.
I think it was Xavier Woods hitting his finisher and then...
Pretty much,
Yeah, but that may have been just them hey, those guys want wrestling, let's give it to them.
Actually,
it was almost shorter than Daniel Bryan's match.
Too soon. No.
Dude, it's always too soon. It's never not too soon for that. But the funny thing is, when this was going on, and we were young, we want wrestling, I turned to these guys, and I said, screw this, I'm going to go look for the Shield. And I really should have, because they were up next.
Yeah, next match, it was Kofi and the Big Show teaming up to face 2 of the Shield members. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And so during the show, we're like, they come down from the steps. What if they come down right?
Well, and I pointed out when we went in June last year and we were down on the floor, I pointed out to them that, when we got in our seats this last show, I pointed out this is the aisle that they actually came down.
Somebody bought this ticket on purpose.
I did actually have that in mind a little bit when I was kind of hunting for tickets. But, yeah.
And long story short, they came down our steps. And somebody may have tried to run me over.
Okay, here's the thing.
Somebody was a little bit too excited.
I don't know, I was at their debut. Obviously we're all big fans.
Yeah.
I think everybody out there knows that. But, just saying. I'm wearing pants of the Shield, actually.
Shield pants.
But, Shield pants,
not.
Shield shirt. What do you got? Anyway, I've actually had the blessing of seeing them a lot of times in person, but I've never... Even from the front row, watching them from the front row, there's nothing quite like them, coming down the stands and you're there. There were, I think Grimm was the closest. And I think he had about 4 chairs between him and the aisle where they were.
And there was about 6 chairs between Katrina and them, and then that got turned to about 4.
So Katrina was very, very excited.
I literally was sobbing by the time they were down on the main floor. I was literally sobbing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So
I was aware that they were real, but it was amazing. And Grimm got some really awesome pictures.
I tried to I got a picture of Reigns and Ambrose literally right there, but I couldn't get. I got one of Rollins, but it's just a bright light. So I just tell people it's like, this is Seth Rollins.
I tried, and then I completely lost my marbles, and Schloppy was trying on my other camera to get pictures, and apparently I ran over him and ruined any opportunity of him getting.
I was too
more
busy picking
pictures.
up her marbles.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I actually feel really bad for him.
Eh.
But
My
he
ankle
probably
still
deserved
hurts.
it. He's mean to me, so he probably deserves it.
My ankle still hurts.
So basically, to sum it up, the Shield walking right by was one of the coolest moments I've had
Oh, yeah.
at a wrestling event.
Yeah, it's amazing. And they fought Big Show and Kofi. Ambrose was just kind of on the outside. And
he was there.
Oh, he was there.
correct me if I'm wrong, did the Shield lose? Or did they win? I want to say, I think they lost because I felt like the Wyatts and Shield both lost that match, and it was really odd.
Probably so. I'd have to consult. Like I wrote about it in my journal.
Yeah,
but I'm really
I-
not sure.
Yeah, because I remember thinking that
I think they
that
lost.
not a single heel had won except
Yeah.
for like Rusev.
I think that the Shield lost. Either way, after the match, they're in the ring,
yeah.
and the Wyatts music, their little thing happens. And they come out there, and everyone's on their feet just freaking out. Like, that was the most excited. I was excited the whole show, but I was just freaking out because
yeah.
we got to see a standoff. Then it was the night before they fought for the second time on Raw. They were just standing off, and I was like, I remember saying, like, we picked the best time to go to a house show during the middle of the
Well, and
Shield
we're
and
just-
Wyatts.
We're just taking pictures like crazy, and I think between the two of us, we got some good pictures of the standoff.
Oh my gosh, it's such an epic moment.
We were just screaming, "This is awesome!" Like we started a "This is awesome" chant, and I remember Bray Wyatt actually looking over in the direction because we were just. I mean, we weren't chanting, we were screaming it. Like
We all
were,
simultaneously crapped ourselves.
Yes.
pretty much,
In
yeah.
a good way.
Yeah, yes, in the best way possible.
Well, and I remember saying, because this is when we were sure the Shield was like on the verge of breaking up, and I remember looking at them and saying, "Take it in, guys. This is the last time we're going to see them as a group together." And it turns out we might be wrong.
Yeah, which it really seemed like it's like they're
we
real
were
close.
sure.
Yeah, but then after that epic moment, it was time for the main event. It was a steel cage match between Kane and Daniel Bryan, former best buddies, former hug buddies, former tag team champs. They put on a pretty awesome match. It was amazing just to see a steel cage match, in person. And Bryan got the win as expected, and it was awesome. It was great.
Pretty awesome.
The yes chants were present, definitely. And I remember looking around. I just remember I wanted to look around to see everyone yesing. Like, during the match when it was just happening, I had to look around to see the whole place just, yes. It was just a cool moment to take in while you're there. But
and I feel sorry for this little boy that was singing in front of us because every time we start chanting, he just look at us like with the most scarred look on his face.
Actually, after the Shield and the White standoff, I remember a security guard looking and going, "You four, sit down."
Yeah.
And we look at each other and we're like, "Dude,
no.
Yeah.
Do you know what's happening right now?
But exactly, they don't get it.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised to look around and see that we were like the only ones around standing because to me that's not a sit down moment for a wrestling fan. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
That was
it
amazing.
is what it is.
That was such a great show. I would,
was.
because we've been to quite a few, and you've been to so many shows. But that's probably one that will stick in your mind.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the one back in January, but this one definitely had the card was a lot more stacked. I think.
And it helps that you were some pretty awesome people for this show, especially me.
The thing about January that I'll kind of hold close to me is that was the last time I saw Punk.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
And I didn't realize it at the time, but I bought his shirt there, and I got so many pictures of him. He wrestled the Shield in a handicap match. And I remember he did, the 10 punches in the corner, he did 40 to Dean Ambrose. And the way Ambrose sold it was the funniest thing. And
That's not legal.
I know I'm on a side tangent now, but it was just, I didn't know that was the last time I'd seen Punk, but I'm really glad that I made the most of it.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
So definitely catch a live events if you can, because they are awesome experiences.
Especially on the road to WrestleMania, because they're even better.
Yeah, speaking of the road to WrestleMania, we are on the road to WrestleMania, and we are getting so close,
We're very
to
close.
WrestleMania 30.
Like what,
the
2
30th
weeks?
anniversary. Yeah, it's
Less than 2 weeks.
2
We're
weeks.
a week and a half away, pretty much.
Almost, I don't want to say scary, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's here. It's so close. So, how do you guys feel, this is the road to WrestleMania. That's when I would say WWE steps it up a notch, usually. And we've had some pretty insane events happen in the past. And
Yes.
why don't we take it back to after Elimination Chamber? We had the Usos. You mentioned it before. They got their tag team title win.
Finally.
Did you guys think that it was going to happen before or at WrestleMania? What did you guys think?
I was really thinking it was going to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Now that I look back, I'm kind of glad they got it before.
Yeah, and they definitely deserve it. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
it would have
I
been.
was sure. I was sure we were going to have to wait till WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So when it did happen that night, I remember I'd gone over to my parents that night and my mom was asleep. Like, in the next room over, and I jumped up and I like cupped my hands over my mouth and just screamed into my hands because I was so excited. Because I didn't expect that they would be getting the titles before WrestleMania.
Well, and I remember texting you just freaking out.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember that too.
And that was the show I was watching late, and
Yeah.
it had been kind of spoiled, but I mean, it didn't matter because they won the titles, and I was just so excited. But I don't think it takes anything away from the fact that it wasn't at WrestleMania. It's just
No, it doesn't.
because. Looking back now, they couldn't have done that whole them and the Outlaws fighting for all this time, you know,
Yeah.
and the Outlaws are on a completely different path
Yeah.
now.
Right.
So the Usos are the tag team champs, and they look damn good with those titles, and they deserve them.
And people are so behind them, and they have been for quite a while now. But just to see the titles on them during their entrance, and the way the fans respond to them is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And JBL always saying these guys are fun to watch.
Yeah.
But they are. I mean, they're a riot.
Yes,
there's
are.
never a dull moment when they're in the ring.
And their entrances are so awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it
is. That's funny because it's funny you say that because anytime there's wrestling on the TV at my parents' house, there can be non-wrestling fans there or people that aren't so much into wrestling. When the Usos are making an entrance, everybody stops and looks. I've noticed. It's just like my brothers who don't really follow wrestling, they kind of tolerate it for my sake, but they stop and they watch and they're like, wow, you can just see that
It's very cool.
it is. It's
awesome,
it's captivating.
Yeah. So speaking of tag teams and stables, how about the Shield recently?
Yeah,
love this
forget the Shield.
So it was
Do
for
you see
it
the
almost
stupid
looked
look on my face?
it almost looked for sure that
No,
they were
it's about the same as
they were
always.
breaking up. They were going to fight at WrestleMania or something like that. But
Yeah.
they seem to really turn things around, and they turned face. I mean, really,
Yeah.
Yeah,
look at them.
completely.
Yeah.
So back on their match against the Wyatts, the second time, remember Rollins walked out in an
Yep.
unexpected, like, what just happened? But then after that, you know, they had
On
a moment on
SmackDown,
SmackDown.
it was pretty funny
They kinda
because
just
they were
punched
like,
each other.
punch, slap, are we good now? And they all laughed.
Yeah.
And from then on, they've been
Is there form of hugging it out?
they're back. They're stronger than ever, and
That's
they
how they
look better
handle
than ever. I
business.
mean, they look tight as a unit. I don't see them breaking up anytime soon, honestly. And now they're on the good side, I guess you could say. I mean, their faces, they're still, you know, acting like the Shield, but they've got the crowd fully behind them, and they're getting a chance to fight people that they haven't fought before,
Right.
heels and stuff, which they just.
I think the audience has always kind of thought the Shield
Yeah.
was cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
But now it's like when they come down, like people are genuinely excited.
Yeah. I guess-
And we've all followed them since day one and all been fans since day one. But I really feel like pretty much the entire WWE fan demographic is behind them and is really excited when they come out now.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how easy they made the heel or the face turn.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember because my brother and some of his friends were at that house show too, and I just remember him saying that he was laughing at his roommate because he's like spazzing out when the show came in. He's like, "Oh, where are they at?" Like freaking out. And I just remember him saying that he was just laughing at him because he thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like everyone was doing it. Everyone was like looking around, like, "Oh, where are they coming from?" and like, freaking out.
Yeah, I really think.
Someone freaked out a little bit too much. But.
Shut up. We're done with that. We're done with that. It's in the past. I would also like to point out that like Seth Rollins is like they've given him so much
Yeah,
time.
they have.
They kind of are almost like he almost looks like the leader right now.
Yeah.
And when they did the whole thing with Kane, like commanding that they come down in his match against the Big Show, Roman and Dean were over here, and here's the turnbuckle with Kane sitting there, and Tyler's over here. And Kane's like, come on, guys, trying to call him into the ring. And the other two look at Tyler,
Yeah.
Seth. I always do that. I'm going to always do that. They look at him, and they're standing up on the apron. And Seth goes,
Yeah.
step down. And everybody did, so it was like he was the big
It really
cheese.
does. It's they've put in such an emphasis on him.
Yeah,
And
it's happened ever since he walked away,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
in that Wyatt match. That seemed to be like the turning point for him.
Yeah.
Like he's really.
I just love it because he's so
it's
ridiculously special to me. I'll have to see if I can dig up that picture we can put on the screen because I have a picture of me and him. I was 19 and he was 20 years old. I'm 26 now and he's 27. So that just blows my mind. I've followed him for a long time, so it's amazing to see him.
Yeah.
Like I well up. I get stupid. I'm just like.
Dumber.
So yeah, stupider than usual. So it really is fascinating to see him as like the leader of them right now.
And I've noticed that Dean Ambrose, that he's been kind of doing like a more high flying stuff too. Like instead of like just Rollins diving out of the ring, they dive up together.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't think Roman Reigns should do that.
No.
That would be like Cena doing that.
Yeah.
Not
I
a
saw
good
him try
idea.
to do that into the ring, and that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, well, and what we were talking about just brings me to my next point. It's like, I would say there's been a lot of people who have been just looking great the past few weeks, but two people over the past few weeks come to mind for me, and you guys might agree with me. One of them, Seth Rollins. He is the man right now. He is a boss. Like everything he's doing.
My Facebook post Monday night, I posted Tyler Black / Seth Rollins will be WWE champion, and I said something about being so proud of him. Because I'll turn it back over to you because I feel like I totally just interrupted.
No, that's all good.
But yeah, I'm obviously feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm horribly biased, but I think he's gotten a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, he really
From an unbiased, I mean, I also am. I agree, but I think anyone can admit he's been on fire lately.
Yeah.
But the other person is also from a faction. Luke Harper has been on fire completely. Like his two matches that he just had against Cena, props to both of them, amazing matches. But he's been looking great, and for such a big guy, he's doing suicide dives. He's doing everything, fighting for 10 to 15 minutes.
He even did a hurl.
This guy. Yeah,
It wasn't good at it. It wasn't very good, but he still did it.
But
Yeah.
he did.
But here's the thing. We've said before. I think we've said, maybe not on the podcast, just talking, but that it's hard to see Eric Rowan and Luke Harper really doing much outside of the Wyatt family. Well, as far as performing, Luke Harper definitely could.
Yeah.
I don't really see him in a different look or anything, but I think he could.
With a gimmick change, I think it would work.
Well,
but...
I mean, I don't even know about that. Just like the fact, I don't think it's going to be like one and done. I think he has the skills to stay around.
No, he definitely does.
But so those are just the two who have really been looking amazing. But speaking of the Wyatt family, at WrestleMania, it's going to be Bray Wyatt and John Cena. And I'm very excited for this match. I think the build, honestly, has been amazing.
Yeah.
I truly think it's been...
that highlight package with the Eminem song and stuff, I love that.
I do, too.
I don't care how many times I see it. If I'm, like, watching the network and I'm in and out of the living room doing something else, if I hear that come on, my butt's on the couch and I'm watching and listening because I think that is great.
It is.
It's I called it, I was trying to explain it to my brother because he's like, this is kind of weird. And I said, the only way I can put it to you is it's a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
It is. It's one of those WrestleMania emotional things where Cena's like, I've been here 12 years and Bray Wyatt's coming in saying you're a phony and I'm going to foil you and I'm going to expose you for what you really are. And so Cena is protecting his legacy.
Yeah.
And it is. It's one of those I'm getting chills right now.
Yeah.
It's one of those WrestleMania things.
You're so right.
It only works.
And when I first saw the little vignette, I'm like, why'd they choose this song? This song's...
it's so good.
It's not that it was like a bad song. I'm like, I don't think it fits. But the more and more I see it, I'm like, okay, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
I have so many chills right now. Seriously.
Well, and the song is called Legacy. So the whole thing is about Cena trying to prove... or Bray trying to stop Cena's legacy and prove that
and Cena trying to prove that he is who he has said he is over the past 12 years.
It's such a perfect song for it.
It really is a WrestleMania match, and it's funny how a promo package can make something just so much bigger. Yeah. Like it can add so much, and that's what this does. I want this to play it better play right before their match.
And I love the way it starts with Bray talking, and how they take snippets of all his promos.
And they show the fans in the crowd with their Cena signs and the little kids with their wristbands and here I go. I mean, it's really
powerful.
so.
It's gonna be a great.
I'll probably cry.
And the thing is, I was talking to the friend who went to the house show with us the other day at work, and we just started talking about wrestling, and we both like kind of realized that Bray Wyatt is like the best guy on the mic in the business right now. Because like after Punk's left, I've noticed they've really like put him on the mic more, and he's just every promo he cuts.
is fascinating.
Yeah, I can't take my eyes off of it.
Even if what he's saying doesn't really make sense,
Exactly.
it's like you're still hanging on to every word.
Yeah, and
He's very good, like just awesome.
it's incredible. And I just love the fact that he starts singing all these little children Bible songs that we all sing in Sunday school, and
yeah, just kind of it's pretty.
It's so weird, but it's so funny though.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
So that match, it definitely feels like a WrestleMania, like caliber match, definitely.
And actually, if I can, while we're on the topic, I had posted on our Facebook page where we kind of share information amongst ourselves an article that Gregory Iron had written. He's one of my indie wrestlers, and he's a fantastic writer. He's actually working on an autobiography right now, which I've read pieces of as he's posted them. But he writes articles on wrestling, about wrestling. You can actually see them on his Facebook page. But the most recent one he wrote that I saw he had posted last night was about John Cena's WrestleMania journey, basically. And he talked about how, on the WWE Network, they just showed WrestleMania Rewind with Cena's U.S. title win at WrestleMania 20. And then at WrestleMania 21, he would win the big one from JBL. And then the next two WrestleManias, he beat, at 22 and 23, he beat Triple H and Shawn Michaels, respectively.
Yeah.
So those are four huge people who made Cena a star and put him over. And of course, he's wrestled at, pretty much every WrestleMania since then. And almost all of them have had title matches, or have had titles on the line, as Gregory pointed out in this article. But the coolest thing that he pointed out was this year, it's Cena's turn to make a star out of Bray Wyatt. And, Bray Wyatt is an up-and-comer, debuted less than a year ago, and has really gotten everybody's attention. And Cena has been there for 12 years now. And it's just crazy that he really has come full circle in his role in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's what, this article is amazing. But I've really been thinking about that since I read it, and since we started talking about this. It really is, Cena's new role is going to be to make stars.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
because he's so established now.
Yeah, well, and Triple H said this a few years ago, cutting a promo for WrestleMania. He said something about how every person who he makes or breaks people's careers at WrestleMania, the people who have gone on to beat him at WrestleMania have skyrocketed and become world champions, and the people who haven't kind of just faded away or whatever.
Sheamus is where we talked about that, yep. And it's, it's true. It's kind of like that's where Cena is now. He has a chance to, make Bray Wyatt here,
And I think when you've been in the business that long, there comes a point in your career where it's time to start putting people over. Yeah. Like Jericho's there. Jericho's definitely there, putting Fandango over last year at WrestleMania.
Cena, I'll be the first to say Cena is always willing to put people over.
And he is.
But he's in the position now where he doesn't need it.
No.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt needs it.
He needs
his
this
first
win,
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's against a big, huge star.
If Cena loses to him, I'm all for it. Yeah. Because I know he's doing for Bray Wyatt what so many people, so many big stars did for him before. Cena will always be my number one, but he's at that point now, as Gregory mentioned in this article, that he's at that point where it's his turn to make a star out of somebody else.
Well, and it's like we were talking about earlier before we started, that the first four people who he faced were huge names. There was Big Show, JBL, both members of DX. It was huge names.
And these are all things that I hadn't really thought about in the sense of that, because I'm just so excited about the video package and all that. But when I read Greg's article, it was just like, basically everything we've just said, I pulled directly from his article, because it really made me think about it from that perspective, and how Cena really has come full circle.
Yeah. But that's going to be amazing. And I read that article too, very good. And it's about how I felt, but in just a great written way.
Yeah,
really going through, his whole, it is like a full circle. It's like, he started, and Cena's lost at WrestleMania before, and it hasn't, hurt him, but here he can really make Bray into a star, and it's not going to hurt him. It's only going to help Bray and elevate him. So I'm very excited for that.
Well, and he also mentioned how Jericho lost to Fandango last year. Did that change who Chris Jericho was?
No.
Not at all. did that change who Fandango was?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you remember anything, you remember he won his first match against Chris Jericho
Yeah.
at
And
WrestleMania.
JBL brings it up every time Fandango's in the ring.
Yeah, he does.
Which I think is awesome. That
He does.
He says that he's a future up and comer. He had the greatest, like, what was it? The greatest
Upset.
upset at WrestleMania
Yeah.
ever, beating Chris Jericho in his debut match at WrestleMania. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't get much better than that for your
Yeah.
debut match.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
WrestleMania is, I would say the card is looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I
I
think
mean,
so, too.
like, just putting it in perspective, okay? We've got the main event, which was going to be Batista and Randy Orton. And they fixed that. We now know for sure it's going to be a triple threat. Because
Yes.
the winner of Triple H and Daniel Bryan is going to go on to that match. Those are both, I'm very excited for both those matches. You've got Undertaker defending the streak against Brock Lesnar. The build has been, it's been fine. It started off good and that's been kind of whatever. But what they had on Raw was pretty cool.
it
It
was
just
so
could've-
awesome.
It was pretty cool. It was kind of long, but it was
Yeah.
really
I mean,
awesome.
I totally saw the whole, like, him opening the casket
Yeah.
back up. I totally saw that coming, but it was so
That was cool.
awesome.
Because the thing is with the streak is it's one of those things where the build up is kind of it's there for itself. It's a
Yeah.
streak, you know what I mean? So that'll be
Last year, the build-up was amazing
gosh.
Yeah.
with Punk.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, just throwing the urn around.
But I mean,
like,
if Paul Bearer hadn't passed, what would they have done? They would have
Yeah.
probably just used the fact that Undertaker's undefeated.
And
Punk
Punk's-
wants to beat the
and
streak.
Warren Punk's
Right.
like the best in the world.
Yeah,
It's his
but
way to
now
prove that he is
they got personal. So this year,
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of just riding on the fact that Brock Lesnar is
an
the
idiot.
beast. Yes, he's an idiot.
And an idiot.
He's an idiot.
I cringe every time he takes the mic out of Heyman's hand. He's
Yeah.
like, oh no.
Yeah. But so we've got Taker and Lesnar. We've also got the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, 30-man over the top rope Battle Royal, which I'm very excited for.
I'm
I'm
too.
so excited.
It's going to
It's
feature
almost
30.
like getting a free Royal Rumble match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's 30, and they filled almost all the slots now.
I think
I want to
there's
say there's only 4 left now.
Oh really?
They added more. They
And
added more.
I would like to think that they're going to save at least 2 for something random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe an old timer or, I don't
Like
know,
El
something
Torito.
that we would totally not
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they've got, a legend or something
Yeah.
come back, like Hacksaw Jim Duggan,
Yeah.
something like
Jake the
that.
Snake.
Maybe.
Exciting.
I'm still holding my breath on Rusev being in
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
But there's still slots left. And the thing about it is, it doesn't seem like it's set in stone, because if you think about it, the next match I'm going to say is a fatal 4-way for the tag titles. You may not have heard this because you didn't watch main event yet, but it's the Usos defending against Ryback, the Real Americans, and now Los Matadors. We're going to have a fatal 4-way tag match.
I didn't see it, but I
You
knew,
probably saw it coming.
I knew it was coming.
So they've taken out
Because they had
Ryback,
that-
and the Real
They're
Americans from the
basically-
Battle
and
Royal.
they had that whole segment about came backstage
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
well, you guys took care of the Shield for me, you took care of so and so.
Yes.
He gave them all title matches. So
Yeah.
as soon as I told him, I'm like, okay,
And
they
now
gotta do
Los
a fatal
Matadors has
4-way.
been gotten in there because
Which
they
they've given
They've
them
been exciting
they've
lately.
given them a pretty decent push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're really
They
they're-
basically are putting everyone in
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, they really are, because
which
they've
is
got
awesome. They're
the
making sure
Battle
everyone has their WrestleMania.
And then they announced on Monday Divas Invitational, the Vicky Guerrero Diva Championship Invitational, which it literally features every diva on the roster, every single one.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually kind of happy about that. It gives all of them a shot to be at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Whether they deserve it or not, they're all on there. I'm ecstatic that Emma is going to be on
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
that's
She's not going to win it, but she gets to be on her
No, but
very
she'll
first
be there.
WrestleMania. She's been there for 2 months or so, and she's at WrestleMania. They're all on there. And another thing, the Divas Championship has never been defended at WrestleMania. Ever. The Divas has not. So this is the first time. And the Women's Championship hasn't been defended in probably since WrestleMania 23 or something. So I mean, it's been a long time.
I know it
It's-
was at 22, but
yeah, I think 23 Melina and Ashley or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
I think
But
you're
22 was one of the greatest women's matches I've ever seen.
Yes.
So that's just a big thing. They're really making WrestleMania 30 huge. Is there another match? I feel like there is. Either way, it's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So
I
with
gotta say, one thing they've really done well is pretty much getting everything out there in the open 2 weeks before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Actually,
That's
because
good.
because I remember we were texting
Got it.
Monday night on Raw. Yeah, and I said, we were talking about how the card's really coming together after Vicky made the Divas match thing, and I said, well, nothing for the Shield yet, but I know by the end of Raw, it'll be there.
Yeah,
and it was.
And that was the
So,
other match.
yeah.
Shield
How did we
versus
forget that?
Yeah, well, it's just came back. Shield versus Kane and the Outlaws.
I just feel like we already talked about it because we talked about the Shield for
Yeah.
like a year.
So I think that's the card, and anything could be added, but it looks like a good card. And sometimes I remember last year, some of us questioned like, does it feel like WrestleMania? I remember being like, something about it just, I mean, it was a good WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But on WrestleMania Day, sometimes watching it, it didn't exactly feel.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching 28, and that felt like WrestleMania big time. 29 was a little less, I'd say. But this, to me, it really feels like
it does.
WrestleMania 30. It really does. I'd say the build-up on all the matches have been good, given the time. You know, they just announced this Divas thing. They're probably going to build that up.
Yeah.
They're doing good. They're really doing well with it. So,
And before we continue our discussion, why don't we take a break and do the random superstar before we get too carried away?
All right.
Before we get
Sure.
stuck on WrestleMania.
so we're gonna do our classic draw number.
Okay, I
Give our
actually
thoughts
remember
on
the
it.
numbers.
We have the actual bucket.
Okay, I'm gonna mix them up.
We've got
Schloppy?
Yeah, so draw a good one.
Big Tyler.
We don't have time. Number 99.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
This
number
so
99
guys.
it is Stephanie McMahon.
Might
This
as well put up the sensors right now.
Yeah. So this is actually pretty awesome
This
that
is
we drew
convenient,
that
yeah.
because
It's very convenient.
lately she has been quite a character.
Not a nice word.
So you were talking about this before we were talking about her before we actually started rolling. So why don't you just start us off?
Go
Give
ahead.
your opinions, and it doesn't just have to be recent. Just Stephanie McMahon. Why don't you talk about Stephanie McMahon a little
well,
bit?
I think she's pretty awesome, and just lately she's been a huge, excuse the language, but she's been a big bitch.
They said it on Raw. You can say it.
But,
Here.
like,
Apparently so.
There's really no way around it. Just lately, just what she's been doing lately to.
Very malicious.
Yeah, what she's
Oh
been
my
doing lately
gosh.
to. Well, what her and Triple H have both been doing to Bryan lately, which I'm sure will probably.
But I think what
Talk
they're doing
more.
is like she's behind all that.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And not that Triple H isn't wanting to, be a big butthead too, but I feel like excuse my language now, but I feel like Triple H's balls are in her purse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Well, and it's like
right next to Kane's.
Yeah, and she said on, I think it was on Raw, something about how she didn't earn her spot. She was born into the business.
Yeah.
She's the next in line. And I thought that, I don't know, I just thought that was cool because it kind of, like you said, it kind of made it feel like Triple H's balls were in her purse.
Yep.
But
Because she's like, I'm running the show.
Yeah.
He's just there because he married me.
Yeah.
He had the privilege of marrying me.
Well, anyways, back to what we were talking about is I've liked Stephanie McMahon. I've always liked what she's done. And I like how she started off wrestling. She won the women's title and then did the whole thing with Triple H. They married and then whatever. Like I've always liked how she's always wanted to be a part of the show, whether it was backstage or on TV or what. And I thought she's always done a good job building up those stories and stuff. So I like her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Except for lately, she's like I said, she's been.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Like, it's pretty awesome to see where she was before as the daughter, you know, and she was fairly young, and she could have such an impact on storylines, and she was used for maybe not so much in a wrestling aspect, but she was with Triple H, and she was with Test, and she was with Chris Jericho for a little bit. She could just do things. She had feuds with her family, her brother, her dad. She had so much, and it's pretty sweet. After she left for a while, she was the GM also of SmackDown for a little bit, but it's cool, and a women's champion. But after she left for a while, I didn't really think we would see her back in this role, like on TV as a role. But the fact that she's basically the new Mr. McMahon, like from the day, she's the evil overlord. I love it. It's amazing and it's fresh because it's a girl this time, but she's still, like you were saying, she's like born into it. And she really is. She's the most malicious heel, like the biggest heel right now.
I think she may be worse than her dad. Like I remember when I was
because she's a woman, she has that conniving, like rah, vengeful.
I just remember as a kid just hating Vince so much. Yeah, and I didn't think I could hate anyone more. But Stephanie's doing a pretty good job.
It's very cool that Stephanie gets to be this times. I guess, Vince. It really is awesome, and I didn't think we'd get to see it, so I'm all for it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Stephanie.
I won't go last next time because pretty much everything you said. But I actually have a Stephanie McMahon action figure that I got as a kid in my box of action figures that I still have. I think that's interesting. No, I'm not ashamed.
Cool, yeah.
I'm not ashamed at all. I think that's she came in a pack with Triple H or something, and I was crazy about Triple H at the time. But I was pretty young when she first started showing up on TV. And it's funny because she was so sweet and innocent at first. And they had the thing with her and Pest and the wedding, which Triple H destroyed. And then she in turn joined Triple H and turned on her dad. And she's always been there. Even when she's not in the foreground of everything, which all those things you guys listed, she has done. But even when she's in the background, you know she's doing stuff. You know she has so much influence over the company. And when I was, 10 years ago, whatever, thinking about what's going to happen when Vince is done, being in charge and stuff, I always thought it would be Shane McMahon because, the man takes over the family business or whatever. And Shane, from everything I've heard, doesn't really want anything to do with it now, which is completely his decision. I respect that. But it's just interesting to think that I didn't expect that Stephanie would be the main one, taking over. And of course, this is before, we knew about that her and Triple H thing was legit and they were going to get married and they were going to actually, take over the company. So it's not something I expected, but I actually feel really comfortable about the future of a company that I care so much about in the hands of her and Triple H.
Well, and they've proven that there's a lot to come just based off...
talk.
Sorry, but just based off what they're doing at NXT.
It's my turn. Yeah. I really feel comfortable about the direction it's going, and I respect so much what she does. And yeah, she's got the conniving. She plays a great character. She's honestly, I think, been one of the best heels, man or woman, that has ever been.
Yep.
Has ever come through. And she went from this little innocent young girl to now she's Vince now. She really is. So I respect so much what she's doing on and off screen. And I think the future of WWE is in good hands with her there.
I do too.
So thumbs up, Stephanie.
Yeah.
And just to add something, I remember as a kid I checked out this wrestling book from the school library, and there was a picture in it of her sitting on Andre the Giant's lap as a little kid, and it's just so weird thinking about that picture and just thinking how far she's come along. She went from being the boss's daughter and all the wrestlers always being liking her or whatever, and now she's running she's running the company. It's just amazing to see how far along she's come.
Yeah, and speaking of Stephanie and this new evil Stephanie, how about just the way that her and Triple H have just been viciously assaulting Daniel Bryan recently? Because even before that, Triple H just would not give Daniel Bryan what he wanted, which was a match against him at WrestleMania 30. But I think we saw something that will be remembered and go down in the books as one of the one of those moments that'll go down in Raw history. Daniel Bryan brought in so many fans into the ring.
I'd say a couple hundred.
Wearing his Yes t-shirts, and they occupied Raw. They occupied the ring. They occupied the whole area around the ring. And they were just and they were not going to leave until Triple H gave them what he wanted. So they go out there, and long story short, he got his match. But now, like we said earlier, the stipulation where Daniel Bryan wins, he gets added to the title match. But that Occupy Raw moment was just, it's one of those things, you remember certain Raw moments like the beer truck, the weddings and stuff. You remember that stuff. It's just, this is one of those things. That's definitely
something we're going to remember.
I think this really will be one of those things. You remember the pipe bomb from Punk. It's just one of those things that you'll remember.
And my thing is, I just randomly remember they were in Memphis. And that's completely irrelevant, but what would it have been like to be there? Whether you were down, down at the ring or up in the stands. Wow.
Yeah,
I can't imagine how many pictures I would have taken because that's something that people are going to talk about in 25 years when they think about WWE way back when.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we were all over here watching it, and I just remember talking about like what it would be like to be
one of those
fans in the ring, and
The one guy was like standing on top of poor Brian.
Yeah.
because
But
you
then,
wouldn't be.
see, they were making fun of me because they were like, that would have been you. And I'm like, yeah, it would have. But this guy was just like on top of him. He went up like to the turnbuckle to escape, I think. And the guy's still right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it would have been like, I don't know how that many people kept control of themselves. I would have lost it. I would have.
Yeah.
I really would have.
Yeah.
Like, I give them props. But, like, it was, you know, big people, little people, black people, white people, kids, adults. It was amazing. It really was.
Such a cool moment.
Nobody looked anything like anybody else. It was such a special...
Yeah.
It was so cool.
And like, there's one of those moments, like, they've started doing that whole little countdown thing on the network. I can see this being on the countdown sometime.
Yeah, I do.
Whether it's soon in the near future or, like you said, 25 years from now.
It would have been just amazing to be there.
Yeah, it'll be remembered. And I think it was a great way for this build to WrestleMania. I mean, it gave them these matches we're going to see. So,
and that's really when, like...
He paid for it, though.
Yeah, and that's I was going to say, that's really when Stephanie and Triple H really got vicious. Like, before it was just them like, oh, no, we're not going to give you what you want. No, you're a mid-card guy. But now it's like...
a B-plus player.
That was the moment that really set Triple H and Stephanie over the edge.
Because, I mean, that beatdown was just vicious. I mean, it was like a 10-minute...
It went on for so long.
It felt like something they haven't done for years. It was like, I want to say, you know, like Attitude Era. It's just like it was just vicious. It was supposed to give you ultimate sympathy and ultimate hatred. Like,
who was it? Somebody tweeted, a former wrestler tweeted that it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It was like Joey Styles or someone. They tweeted that was one of the hardest things they've ever had to watch.
Really was, though. And
just Stephanie McMahon over Triple H's shoulder, just yelling, drown him.
Yeah, she's like, tear his head off. It's like...
I had a friend who's a wrestling fan from up north, from the Chicago area, text me asking me if I was okay after watching that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I didn't enjoy it. There were times I looked away. There were times that I tried to find a happy place in my mind because it was really... But he actually said, and this is a man in his mid-30s, that he was brought to tears from it. It was really... I think that's exactly what it was supposed to do, though. Yeah. It was really supposed to upset people. Yeah.
The thing that got me was that chair shot, like, against the turnbuckle. That was...
Yeah.
Oh, well, they can easily, like...
Well, yeah.
Make that not what it was. I don't know. Like, to me, that was, like, the littlest thing.
Yeah, well,
but throwing him around with handcuffs on, dude, you're going to dislocate his shoulder.
Yeah.
Holding his head underwater, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
There were just things that just...
Yeah.
I didn't like.
Yeah, he kind of looked like a wet dog afterwards, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just adds so much fuel to this.
Yeah.
This feud.
I think that that match at WrestleMania will go down to be remembered.
That's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a huge deal.
So this WrestleMania, it's crazy.
The one complaint about the build-up so far is that they really haven't built up the main event very much. It's just Orton coming out and kind of crying, and Batista like, oh, well, I love this business, I'm here for it.
And ripping his pants on Raw.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Getting out of the ring. The thing is, I agree with you.
I did not know that.
There's a video and there's picture.
Yes, I have a picture of it that somebody sent. No, somebody sent it to me, but it's funny because it's so obvious.
Well, that'll be at the award show.
Yeah, that was very, very obvious. But you are right. The main event itself, those two haven't been built up as much.
Right.
But
But it's been
they at least are doing things. Like sometimes I think maybe it's just because I'm not as interested in the two of those things. But they've actually had two segments. I actually really liked the segment they had Batista, Orton, and Stephanie on this week and the week before with Triple H.
Slapping Batista sunglasses off his face. That was amazing.
Yeah, Triple H, Batista, and Orton the week before. I think that they've actually been pretty good on the mic, especially all of them.
Yeah, they have.
But they really haven't wrestled or anything. I mean,
next week on Raw, it's Batista versus Randy Orton.
Oh, okay.
So think about that. They're giving us the main event we were going to have next week. So it's a good thing they fixed that.
Well, that's probably why they're doing it. But.
We said this feels like WrestleMania.
Yeah, it really does.
It does.
And the build-up has been great. It's just cool to think back at, like, WrestleMania as a whole.
Yeah.
You know? Katrina's been to a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things, I mean, I can't even understand what that would be like.
You
Can you
really
even try
can't.
and, like...
You can't. Like, it was I could talk forever about it. I literally went to the bank and took out a personal loan to get a travel package for my mom and I to go. This was in 2005. I was trying to get it. The summer of 2005. And it consumed me. Mom, WrestleMania's coming to Chicago. We have to go. I have to go. They disapproved my loan initially. And I said, nope. And I went back in and I tried again. And I finally got it. They just barely gave it to me. And the only reason they did is because my mom co-signed.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't so much my mom's thing. She knew I had to go to WrestleMania. And so she said, I will co-sign. She's walking out with this loan because this is so important to her. And I didn't tell them I was going to WrestleMania. They'd be like, dude. I told them I was, taking a vacation or whatever. Whatever. Because to me, WrestleMania is a vacation.
Yeah.
But so we got the loan. I had to send for the travel package. So I had a check, which they'd given me. They'd given me a check in the loan, and I had to pay it off for the next year. $76.38 per month for a year. The loan was $1,700. And so we sent the check, and I remember getting an email that it had been confirmed. Our travel package was confirmed. I ran down the hall screaming, bloody murder. Mom, we're going to WrestleMania. And we just, she got up, and it's so hard for her to move around now. So this really is emotionally gripping. She jumped up and we just hugged. And that was all I cared about from August 1st, 2005, when I got the confirmation, until April 2nd, 2006, when I went. I didn't care about anything else. I was going to WrestleMania. I just started college. And literally, you're introducing yourself. And I said, I'm Katrina. I'm a child development major. And I'm going to WrestleMania. And everybody's like, it's no wonder I didn't make friends in college. Because it consumed me.
You still haven't made friends.
I had to get to April 2nd, 2006, so I could go to WrestleMania. So my first semester was just whatever. My second semester, 2 days a week, I had 12-hour days. I get to school at 7. No, 14-hour days. I get to school at 7. I wouldn't leave till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
I didn't care. You know why? Because I'm going to WrestleMania. So, I didn't. When we actually got there, we were there Friday through Monday morning. Friday, we got to go meet Cena. That was 8 hours in a line, and that was crazy, but it was so worth it because, he's my guy. And then, so we really got the whole experience. We went to the Hall of Fame. We went to this kind of meet and greet with several different wrestlers there. Kane was there, and my mom had a cow because that's her fave. So I got a picture of her and Kane. I missed a picture with Kane, but I didn't even care because my mom got a picture of Kane. And so we had the meet and greet. We had the Hall of Fame that night. Eddie got inducted. Bret Hart got inducted, who was one of the reasons I started watching wrestling. And that was very, very emotional. And like I said, I didn't sleep for 3 nights. I couldn't sleep. There was no way. Friday night I didn't sleep. Saturday night I didn't sleep. So I didn't sleep for 2 nights. And then we went, go to WrestleMania on Sunday. And you just really can't. I can't even, I walked in and I just started bawling. I walk in, you see the set. They had, that year they had banners of so many people all over the arena. And I just looked around and I just cried so much. And it's just amazing. It's something that everybody who's ever loved wrestling has to do before they die. Yeah. They have to. And it's so sad now because it's gotten so expensive. I'm already going, I don't know if I'll ever make it back again. Because it is so horribly expensive. But at least I can say it, I got to go the one time. And Cena was in the main event, he won. Yeah. And a friend of mine across the arena called and left me a voicemail. He doesn't like Cena at all, never has. And he left me a voicemail saying the only reason I wasn't really upset at the end of the night is because I know somewhere in this building you were so happy. Yeah. And I took 1 million pictures of everything, and I actually was on the DVD once because somebody in front of me had a really sweet Kurt Angle sign. Oh, yeah. And I'm just standing there looking really derpy, clapping and cheering for Kurt Angle. But if you watch the shot, Kurt Angle's coming out, they do the pyro, and then they cut to this sweet, painted sign. And I'm derping over there in the corner in my Cena hat. Yeah. So, I feel like all in all, I had the most amazing experience. Got to see Shawn Michaels, Edge and Mick Foley with the flaming table. Yeah, I was there. Undertaker and Mark Henry had a
Mark Henry,
casket match,
yeah.
which it wasn't definitely
But it's
wasn't one of the
still
best matches.
an Undertaker.
But it was an
Yeah.
Undertaker streak match, you know, and there were just so many things.
Yeah.
So many things. You really can't. There's not really a word to say what
Yeah.
what WrestleMania is like. You just have to. You have to go. You just have to. But I wouldn't trade it away for anything. You know, for months and months after we got back from WrestleMania, I was still paying for that loan, and I paid it every month with a smile on my face because I wouldn't trade that money back for the memories I got. You know. And that was my mom's last big thing she was able to do before she, you know, because she has a degenerative condition where, you know, her mobility just gets less and less. So that was one of the last things that she could go out and walk around with me for 3 days and do all this. So there's so many reasons it was special to me, but it's amazing. I wish everybody in the world could go.
Yeah.
Everybody who loves
Definitely.
wrestling. Actually, my brother said, if you won, there's something about the lottery, and my brother said, if you won, what would you do? And I said, Joseph Corey and I would go sit front row WrestleMania. I didn't even hesitate. It was like, that would be it.
Yeah, probably.
Because they have to, they have to go to WrestleMania.
And one more thing, just because, you know, we're talking about WrestleMania, and our next one will be after the Hall of Fame class. I've got to say, I think this is the best Hall of Fame class as a whole that we've had it. I'm so excited for it. Do you think that's the last one, or are they gonna have more? I mean, that's 7 people. That's I don't know how
I
many
think if they add
normally
anyone
do.
else, it'd be like a manager or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, if anything, they'll do one more.
Yeah,
or a
I don't-
tag team.
I don't know
but-
how many-
Because I'm
normally do.
still really pulling for Paul Bearer.
He's in there.
Oh, yeah, he is.
All right, everybody, give it up for this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And
Did that just happen?
It's
I'm
been a
pulling
long,
for
We
Paul.
cannot cut that out. That
No,
was
no.
awesome.
it's been a long couple days.
We've had some good WrestleMania talk here. I think we should just wrap it up. But we got WrestleMania so close, we can feel it. We've got one more Raw. It's gonna be a big one, and we'll all be watching WrestleMania, freaking out, hoping for our boy Daniel Bryan. It's gonna be an amazing WrestleMania moment. Thanks for joining us. I'm Grimm Chorizo.
I'm Schloppy Joe.
And I'm Katrina Sina.
Have a great WrestleMania week and a half.
Yes! 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 Yes!
You've been listening to Ringside Radio. Be sure to like and subscribe, and send any of your questions and comments to grimchorizo@gmail.com.